Hello everybody, welcome back to the Stacey West. It's time for another preview. This time we've got Crewe Alexandra in the league on Tuesday night. I'm very fortunate to be joined by Ant Evans, a Crewe supporter. Hi Ant, how you doing, mate?
Good evening, Jake. Thank you very much for the warm welcome, and a very good evening to your podcast listeners as well.
Thank you very much. So obviously we've got quite a bit to talk about. Lincoln and Crewe already met each other this season. We'll meet for the second time in what feels actually about a month or so. But obviously, just talk to me about Crewe's start of the season. Obviously, they picked up a good win on Saturday. But apart from that, how has life in League One been for Crewe?
Yeah, so I think, to be fair, we've had a really tough start. So, we had Charlton, we had Hull, we just had Doncaster. We're supposed to play Oxford, Blackpool as well, and we've got obviously yourselves and Ipswich coming up this week. So I think for us to have 10 points and to sit comfortably in mid-table with that start is something that I'm really pleased with. I don't think we could have actually asked for more. Coming up, we're competing. We're not getting, we're in every single game. We're giving people, a good run for the money. Probably apart from the Sunderland game where the class was, we deserved to lose that. But I think in every other game, we've really been competing. So can't complain at all where we sit in mid-table at the minute.
And obviously, you're in a similar stage now to where we were about a year ago, just coming into League One. How have you found the step up? From League Two, obviously you came up automatically. How have you found the step? There is, from what I can remember when we first came back into League One, there was quite a sizable step. Everyone says they're quite close together, but I thought there's quite a bigger gap than people anticipate. I
think it depends. The first thing that I'd say about any division, obviously going from either League One to League Two or League One to Championship and Championship to Premier League, is just the quickness and the incisiveness. Like in League Two, you could probably take an extra 1 or 2 touches either before getting a pass off or getting a shot off. You don't have that in this division, and I think obviously the way that we played last season, 4-3-3, attacking possession-based football, we have that no way near as much as possession. And I know obviously that doesn't win games, but we're not dominating games like we did in League Two. In League One, it's the other teams have had more, which could be because, like I said, the start that the tough start that we had. We played Wigan as well, and obviously they're in a bad state. But we played 3 of the relegated Championship teams in the first month. So I think you can definitely tell us a step up, and I think a lot of our academy lads have had to get grips of it really quickly. I think some of the skills we might have tried, or one of the 2 extra things we might have done, we might have got away with. But in this league, I think we've wised up really quickly. And to be fair, I think we've got to grips of it really well as well. So it's been a tough start.
You talk about academy lads. That ultimately 2 of your own academy players won you the game on Saturday away at Doncaster. Can you just tell us a little bit more about that game and how Crewe ended up picking up the 3 points?
I think to go to Doncaster, of where they were, and like I said, they absolutely battered Ipswich in midweek as well, didn't they? And it was one of those games where little old Crewe go to Doncaster, who, on the back of a good win have started well. Crewe don't really, on paper, Crewe didn't stand a chance. We went there. Talk about an away performance. It was, it was dogged. We fought, but we had 2 real touches of quality. The 2 goals were, top class. The first one, obviously, the Charlie Kirk, who literally played out from the back. Tommy Lowry picked it up, laid it off from Callum, and they did 2 lads who passed it out to Kirky and then slotted it, in the bottom corner. We saw that so many times last season, and that is what you would describe, if you had to define what we're about and the way that we play, that would be that would be it. And like you said, it's the academy, all the academy lads were involved with it, and then of course the Harry Pickering free kick. I think that's worthy of winning any match at any level. It was fun. It was absolutely fantastic, and we've seen him do it before. And like I said, that left hand side of Kirk and Pickering, it was by far the best in League Two last season. I think it will give a lot of League One teams a lot of headaches and a lot of things again, because those lads on the left have, they've been at the Alex Academy since there was 6, 7, 8 years old. You know, they're pushing 22, 23 now. You know, you've got 15 years of playing on that left-hand side together, and it's really strong. And there's no surprise to us that those two are the match winners on Saturday. But I think Doncaster was, you know, we did the ugly side as well. You know, Doncaster are a good team, good quality, and it could have gone either way. You know, Will Yaskalainen made 2 absolutely fantastic. You know, in the game, and you know, I think that's what you'd say about us. I think any Lincoln fans or any fans about us, like, you know, little old Crewe. I don't like to say that, but I think we had a lot of that when we came in to the division this year. Everyone said the Crewe were going to finish near the bottom. We thrive on that, and we sort of like that underdog style because we surprise a lot of teams. I think we thrive on that, and I think it was always, if you get into them, they won't play the football and they'll be easy to beat. It hasn't been like that under Dave Artell. We can do both. We've got the quality, but we can also, you know, grind out a result and be a bit more dogged and determined as well.
I think people need to remember as well that there are 9 former Premier League teams currently playing in League One this season as well, which is, you mentioned Harry Pickering there. I think he seemed to score a free kick at Central Bank when you turned us over 4-1 as well, so we're pretty used to that. But just to quickly on Doncaster, we played Doncaster on Saturday. What did they cause? How did they cause Crewe problems, and how, you know, how did they play?
I think the first 20 minutes they didn't really get to grips of our attacking play, because Sunderland, we weren't ourselves. We were a bit overawed by them, to be fair. We showed them too much respect until the last 20 minutes, whereas this, it was the opposite. The first 20 minutes, we went back to our attacking football, and I think Doncaster sort of didn't know how to get the grips of that. But after that, they started pressing, harrying us, and they're a good team. They've got some really, really good players. You know, they've got Whiteman in there. They've got Josh Sims. You know, they've got some really good players, and they are a good team. So it didn't surprise me that they came back into the game. You know, I think the only thing that we would say from our point of view, as soon as Kirky scored the goal, that literally from the kick-off, Josh Sims comes up, you know, scores the equaliser. But it didn't surprise me in a way that is annoying. Obviously, you think, well, at least give us 30 seconds to celebrate the goal. But you know, they've got that quality, and I think they've got quite a lot of loan players, you know, high quality loan players on there. But they've got a good, solid base in there, and it wouldn't surprise me if they're in the playoffs or challenging in and around it come the end of the season, because they're a solid team. And like I said, Saturday's game could have gone either way. If it wasn't for that fantastic save of Will Yaskalainen, you know, it could have either been a draw. They could have nicked it, but I think, you know, it went our way on the day.
We've already spoken about Kirk and about Pickering, but one player that stood out for me, which might come as a surprise for you, it may not, Mikael Mandron, signed from Gillingham in the summer, obviously. Lincoln have dealt with him before when he was at Colchester and then at Gillingham last season, but you know, he's been inspired since turning up at Gressy Road, isn't he?
He's been fantastic. I think if you think of us last season, Chris Porter was our top striker, and I think we need a target man. So like I said, you've got all these academy lads who know how to play football. You've got the wingers of obviously Dale and Kirk and Powell, but we need a focal point up front. We need someone to be able to actually play the ball, to hold it up, so then Charlie Kirk and Pickering can make those overlapping runs. The box-to-box midfielders can get up there. And obviously last season that was Chris Porter, you know, 35, 36. But the concern from us is that we didn't have a backup striker, and if he gets injured, what do we do? Yeah. And I think that was one of the main things that we had to address in this summer. And I think he has fitted in really well, and I think obviously for Mandron, obviously he is, the one thing about it is obviously his goal scoring record. So if you look at his goal scoring record, it's not the best, but if it was, he wouldn't be a League One player. He'd be playing higher up, because his all-round play, and you know, there's hardly any better in terms of target men in the division, I think. And I think our style of football suited him perfectly straight away. But what I'd also say about him is his work rate, shall I say. As a target man, has actually been fantastic. If he loses the ball, he's the one chasing it back. He he's just slotted in. You'd think he'd been, with the team for, since last year, but he's literally fitted straight in because Chris Porter's been out as well.
Yeah.
Chris Porter's only really coming back to fitness. So if he didn't start the way that he did, and I think, he's been a really good acquisition for us. And I think, his goal scoring record has been fantastic so far, and long may it continue.
Obviously, a player that you'll be coming up against, Tom Hopper, is quite a similar player, in fact, to Mandron, but it's not Tom we're going to talk about here. It's going to be James Jones in the middle of the park. Swapped Crewe for Lincoln at the start of the season. Been absolutely phenomenal. If you ask any Lincoln fan, he's dictated midfield. He gets up and down the pitch really well. He's got some really good end product as well. Were you disappointed to see that he had swapped the red and white of Crewe for the red and white of Lincoln?
Well, I don't think, obviously, I knew that he was going to Lincoln, but I knew he wasn't signing a new deal.
Yeah.
I think James Jones is a really curious case because, like I said, 2-3 seasons ago, he was on the verge of a championship move to Preston for a couple of million, and he got injured, and then for 18 months he was fighting back to get to fitness, and was actually out of the team and couldn't get in front of Ryan Wintle or Tommy Lowry or Finney. And then the last 6 months of obviously our promotion running, he was back to his old best. And it wasn't a surprise that you're not a good player if you aren't going to go to a championship club for a good fee. He really was definition of box-to-box midfielder. It's no surprise that he's doing so well for Lincoln in League One. I always knew that he probably wasn't going to sign again a new deal. We offered him one, but I think he wanted a new challenge. He already had that where he thought he should have already have gone, but we don't. It's one of those things at Crewe, isn't it? If you do well for us, we're going to let you go. We would have liked some money for him, but it doesn't surprise me that he's doing well. I didn't obviously know he's going to sign for Lincoln, but I also knew he wasn't going to sign a new deal. But I'm absolutely, it's great to see him doing so well. I think obviously we're quite a unique club in Crewe. Obviously we see so many of our lads, grow up through the academy and come into the first team. Whenever they get a new opportunity to move somewhere, the Crewe fans always do have that affinity because obviously the moments and obviously that they give us. I mean, I remember his last minute winner at Leyton Orient last season was just absolutely fantastic, and that was really kicked him on. And I think we always have an affinity with our ex-players. So you look at Nick Powell at Stoke now, you see Ashley Westwood playing week in, week out for Burnley. We sit back with a real, a lot of pride for our players, and especially if they're doing, if Lincoln do well this season and he's part of that, we'll sort of take a little bit of credit as in like, but we'll follow that for him as well. We don't wish him any ill will or anything. It's great that he's doing it just so obviously he doesn't have a too much of a great game tomorrow.
I mean, he obviously shortly after signing for Lincoln, he returned back to Gresty Road, and as we played during the Carabao Cup, instrumental in that game, set up the winning goal. I seem to recall from Lewis Montsemer. That game, good fit. Yeah,
so I was going to say, good finish that from Montsemer as well.
I mean, he's getting a bit of a knack of it, which we're not too keen on if he's going to get just poked by a bigger club. But
welcome to our world.
Anyway, how much have Crewe changed since that defeat? Obviously, Lincoln played quite well that day. We look very good, and Crewe were when they got back to 1-1, they played some really good football. But how much have Crewe changed since then? Because I feel like Lincoln have evolved. As every week we feel like we're evolving into a new animal. Are Crewe doing a similar thing? Yeah,
absolutely. And I think that comes back to the first question of maybe in that game we might have taken 2 or 3 touches before laying a pass off or, taking a man on. That's what we've learned now. And like I say, Lincoln had been in League One the season before. They knew what it was about. We both obviously haven't played for how many months. Obviously your season you were playing obviously the Sunderland's, Portsmouth. Our last game was against Stevenage, who we beat 6-0. So there's levels to it, and I think, like I said, we've just become a bit more streetwise, a bit more smart, and a bit more sharper with that. Our tactics aren't going to change, and our style of play isn't going to change. We're going to play that attacking 4-3-3 come come rain or shine, and that's what's got us. That's what's been successful for us, and that's what that's what the players know. But I think it's just those little. You probably couldn't describe it if that makes sense. But what I'd say is just be a bit more streetwise, bit more nous. And like I said, I think it didn't surprise us obviously that James Jones was running the midfield in that game. But like I said, it was a hell of a winning goal, wasn't it? I mean, he hit that first time, you're just like, flipping it, like.
Yeah.
So it doesn't surprise me. So yeah, that's what I'd say about the Lincoln game. Like I said, they probably did deserve the win on the day, but I don't think, like I said, we weren't overbowled by it. It was good. Yeah. It was a good game, but that goal was worthy of winning the game. So fair play.
Just wanted to get your thoughts on Lincoln, because obviously Lincoln are moulding under Michael Appleton to become a club that pick up assets, develop them, and then sell them on. Similar to Crewe, who do a similar sort of thing in terms of developing and selling players on for big fees. What have you made of our start to the season? And obviously top of the league, which has been all right for us. But what have you made of Lincoln so far this year?
It's not surprised me that they're doing well. I probably wouldn't have had them at the top of the league at this stage, but it doesn't surprise me under Michael Appleton that Lincoln are doing well. Lincoln are a well-run club. Obviously had the fantastic days under the Cowleys, and I think last season whoever took charge, there was going to be it's a massive change, isn't it? And obviously all those years of success, for then someone to come in with a completely new ideas and new squad. So it didn't surprise me that you consolidated last season, but I did think under Michael Appleton this year that you'd be really challenging. So it doesn't surprise. I'm not surprised that Lincoln are challenging, and they are a good. And like I said, you've got some really good players as well. Like I said, James Jones, Montsma as well. So good outfit, and they could. Wickham got promoted. Wickham were near the top way before everything got. Anyone can do anything in this league, but Lincoln, it wouldn't surprise me if you stay in and around there for the rest of the season under Michael Appleton.
And just moving on then to tomorrow night, obviously Lincoln and Crewe have had quite a couple of really good games over the last couple of years. The 4-1 at Central Bank, the 4-1 at Gressy Road as well. How can you see tomorrow night going? How will Crewe tactically set up?
We'll do the 4-3-3, like I said. Our home record's really good. I know obviously he beat us in the cup, but I think if you actually look at our home record, obviously going from our promotion season to now, I know obviously we lost to Charlton on the first day, but like I said, they were playing, Blackburn, 6 weeks before we'd played Stevenage after 6 months. So there was that's what you got to take into consideration. But I think at home we're obviously we're very good at home. It is a bit of a fortress, and like I said, in terms of tactically, it will be 4-3-3. The back five probably won't change. Ryan Wintel's going to sit in front of those, and then it's always a curious case then who's the two revolving. Obviously got Finney, Murphy, and Ainley. I think Murphy will come back in after staying on the bench, and I think Callum Ainley has been absolutely fantastic since he came back. He's a really curious player, Ainley, because is he attacking midfielder? Is he a right winger? We don't know, but we actually think he's settling now in that three as that pushing, attacking midfielder. And I think in terms of actually driving it, people and having a go, he's definitely up there. And obviously then got the overlapping of Kirk and Pickering as well. So we'll get. It's going to be a good game, I think. I think Lincoln aren't going to surprise you the way that they're coming to play. They're going to play it out. I don't think either team are going to change the way that they're playing. We're not going to alter for the way that Lincoln are. Lincoln aren't going to alter the way
I agree.
Crewe are. And I think it's going to be. I think we're surprising a lot of teams already this season about the way that we play. People think that we're going to sit back, but it was never like that in League Two, and it was never going to be the case in League One. Jake, I don't know what you would think of us and how we would set up, but I think it's going to be an entertaining game. It's going to be a good game, and I think both teams are going to go for it and try and go for the win rather than. I know Lincoln obviously top and they're going to Crewe. They're not going to sit back, but we're not going to think, Lincoln are coming. I remember the thing about Lincoln was I always remember is the season before you were top of League Two and we were 18th. There was real danger that we could have we could have got involved in a relegation scrap, and you were flying high. It was the first time we changed to the 4-3-3. We've been playing the 4-2-3-1 all season, and we're really struggling. And we changed to the 4-3-3, and Lincoln came on Boxing Day, top of the table, and we blitzed it. We were fantastic that day. And then ever since then, we've not changed from it, and we've kicked on. So that's what I'd say. I always thank Lincoln for that, and it was it was something that really kicked us on. And I think that shocked Lincoln as well. And they thought, oof.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of teams are going to be thinking that of us this season. I think they just think, the team come up a bit more like Northampton, who are really struggling. But I think we'll surprise a lot where we'll go, actually, these lads can play a bit of football.
In terms of how I think Lincoln probably set up, if Crewe are quite a possession-heavy sort of team who like to keep the ball, a bit like Ipswich were on Saturday, we might let you keep the ball, and then we have obviously players with pace, Harry Anderson, Brennan Johnson, George Grant going forward, Anthony Scully as well, another option that we've got going forward. We might let Crewe come on to us to then hit them on the counter. That's obviously something that we've seen quite a few times this year against Charlton, Oxford. It's not typical Michael Appleton play. Obviously, if you'd have heard Oxford fans talk about his time there, it's very possession-based, similar to Crewe, total football sort of thing. But if I could push you for a score prediction, Ant, what do you think you get? Would it follow the 2-1 that happened earlier in the year?
I don't think we'll lose at home. I'm very confident in losing at home. I think it's going to be a 2-2 score draw. Yeah, I think I'd be surprised if we lost at home, to be fair. But like I said, Lincoln are coming off the back of really good results, top of the table. It's going to be a tough. But I reckon there'll be goals. It's not going to be. I think it's going to be a 0-0. Slugfest, long ball, hoofball. I think it's going to be really entertaining. Like I said, you've got great players there who are gonna take us on, and there's going to be goals. 2-2 draw.
I mean, hopefully it won't be a boring game if they're going to charge a tenner to watch it on iFollow forever. But thank you very much, Ant, for coming on. It's massively appreciated. I'm sure your social medias will all be linked to the piece. But thank you very much for coming on anyway. Been a pleasure. Thank you everybody for watching the Stacey West. I'm sure we'll be back for another preview soon. Thank you very much.
Cheers.
I've just got to press stop record on my mouse.